Hey guys, on today's episode of Two Blokes One Business, we're joined by Jake Edwards, and there are some topics of conversation that are extremely sensitive around mental health and suicide. So as a pre-warning as to what's to come, and if anyone is struggling for whatever reason, please reach out to Lifeline on 131114. There's some extremely good takeaways in today's episode, a story of transformation. So hope you enjoy what's to come.
He is one of the most controversial relationships in this year's edition of MAFS. Jake thought he had found the woman of his dreams on the experimental reality TV show, but it hasn't been smooth sailing with his wife, Beck.
I attempted to take my life one morning at home. I won't go kind of into the details around all that because we'll be here for forever, but essentially...
From the outside, you live in this perfect life, but then internally, you're diagnosed with depression and put on medication. Like, how did you deal with that?
Yeah, mate, it was hard. I was having anxiety, panic attacks driving off to training, and I couldn't drive the car. When the opportunity came up with a TV show to go on there, it was MAFS. It was like, fuck, here's an opportunity for me to do something different. I watched the first episode, and that's the only episode that I watched. I didn't watch.
Still to this day?
Yeah, still to this day, yeah. Literally, the chick I was Beck, she cheated on me through the show. So that whole experience was fucking just wiped, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because of what happened on that last reunion show. And she got busted back home, kissing another bloke while she was still filming with me on the show and stuff like that. So I kind of felt really, I was cheated on in front of all of Australia. You know, I went to a farm, which, you know, was a great experience. And then it really just changed my life 180, to be completely honest.
The farm saved your life.
It did. It really honestly did.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Blokes One Business podcast. Today we're on the couch with another member of the That Dog Run Club. We've already had the big man Riley Hunter, and today we're joined with Jake Edwards. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, boys. Yeah, it's great.
It's going to be a cracker. We're all failed footballers.
Are we just?
Yeah. Before we do kick in,
yeah.
This podcast, we talk a lot about fucking graft and mindset. And this man over here, I managed to fucking talk him on a Friday morning run. I managed to talk him into signing up for the Gold Coast Marathon, and he did it with zero training and completed it. Yeah. Now that is ticker.
Yeah,
some effort.
It was silly at the time, looking back now, but oh mate, yeah, we trained a little bit. We did a couple of months of work, but not intense like you did for for what you wanted to get out of it the most. But I was going to do one later in the year, but figured that my body wasn't going to make it because of the training. So I was like, fuck it, let's just do it now. Yeah, it's literally what the decision was based on.
Yeah, I remember sprinkling the sea. Like, we went on a little run down in Burley, and I just said to the boys, I saw a couple of tickets for sale on Instagram, a couple of girls I know, and then like they were debating it, and then Jake just goes, fuck it, I'll do it if you do it, to Riley. And he got him.
And as a man, right, if you're Riley, there's no way you can turn that down.
And that's how I know how Riley works. Yeah. Like, if I knew that I'd get him, if I said I'll do it, he'll do it. And that's how it all worked, yeah.
We got him the other day, actually. I was like, boys, like 13K run on the weekend, bit of brekkie. Like, Jake was like, I'm busy, Callan couldn't do it. And I was just like, fuck, I'm going to have to change the name of this group chat then. And Riley's like, you know how to work me. I'll see you there.
He's a good man.
He's a great man.
But Jake, obviously, mate, you're a bit of a personality, right? So people probably know who you are anyway. But if they don't, mate, your background in a nutshell, who's Jake Edwards?
That's a great question. Still figuring that out at 38. Played AFL football, spent time on a TV show, reality TV show, Married at First Sight, which is probably where the popularity, I guess, would come from more so. My career wasn't an incredible AFL player, so you'd have to be a die-hard Carlton fan to know really who I am.
I thought it was Collingwood for the first 3 months I knew you.
That's funny because I never pulled you up on it. I was like, I'll just let him go, whatever. And so it's obviously the sporting stuff, and then I went through a lot of kind of personal challenges post-football. I started a mental health organisation, a non-for-profit called Outside the Locker Room. And then, went into onto the TV show, and then struggled again off the back of that. Spent time, we'll talk on this, I'm sure, but, went to a Hare Krishna farm, which, was a great experience. And then I really just changed my life 180, to be completely honest. And then, I'm sitting here today, buyer's agent, run an agency here in Queensland, and got an office in Burley and Morningside. So, mate, to really answer that question, it's hard to describe who I am because I'm the most kind of weirded kind of person in a lot of sense because I love metal, punk rock music.
Oh yeah.
You know, I love business and work, and you know, I love kind of football. There's so many different avenues to kind of who I am and kind of, I guess, my base as a person. It's tough at times to explain that. Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? Like, you've gone through the pro sport world just like we did. And if it's anything like us, like from the age of 6, that is literally like as early as you can remember, that's your only goal. It's to be in England. It's a professional footballer, obviously our version of football, and you work to that your whole life, and then you'd get there and you taste it for however long. For me, it was 5 minutes. For ads, it was 7 minutes.
10 minutes.
For you, it was a bit longer, and you made some appearances, and then all of a sudden, someone decides that you're not good enough, or you know, just can't fit, and then you go, fuck, what do I do next? Yeah,
it's like that. It literally is like that. It's a Band-Aid, ripping it off, and then you're into the big wide world, and off you go. And you know, growing up, I was a 5th player in my family to play AFL football as well. So there's my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my dad, and my cousin all played league football. So as a junior growing up, I had a lot of pressure on myself to kind of become that next member of my family to play AFL. Yeah. So I knew a lot about kind of expectations, which grew with an anxiety, stress at such an early age. And don't get me wrong, to be 17 being drafted to the Carlton Football Club was probably arguably one of my greatest achievements in my life. But it was the early years in that kind of career succession that, you know, for me, it started kind of highlighting a lot of probably mental health issues that I hadn't dealt with or learnt or knew anything about. And a lot of it was the anxiety and the identity crisis, you know, with being an AFL player as well, and trying to live up the expectations of family before me.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot of things going on there. Like me and Ads, none of our family ever played pro football. Like for us, it was more so the pressure we put on ourselves, and the pressure of at 14 or even earlier than that, they're already analysing you, aren't they? They're already earmarking whether you're good enough. So it's that constant pressure, every performance, and a few shit performances in a row, you're gone. But you had the added pressure of one, your family expecting you to get there, but probably also going, fuck, 4 others in my family have got there. What happens if I don't?
Yeah, correct. And I got 2 older brothers, and they missed the boat in the chance to play league footy. So I was the youngest in the last chance, of my dad. So I felt that, and it wasn't something that was verbalized or pressured from my parents, for example.
Yeah.
There were moments with my dad, he's old school plumber, 6'5", big guy, old school, just a real kind of, just that figure, and very well known around, especially where we lived, but everywhere we'd go, everyone knew Dad, everyone knows my grandfather, everyone knows the story of football in my family. So yeah, I couldn't get away from it. But I loved footy as a kid. Like, it's just, I enjoyed it that much. And I realized when I was 15 that I wanted to be serious about it. And yeah, I was just lucky enough that I was pretty good at it. But what added to it even more so was my last name. So I felt like that whether I was treated a certain way because of my last name, the expectation was there. But then there was also that other side of it. People were like, well, you're only getting a chance because of your last name, or you're only here in this squad because of who you are, not kind of how you play. And whether that was true or not, I don't know. It was kind of a split thing in my head. I could hear voices, but I guess I was good enough. I was grateful enough to have good support around me with family and stuff, supportive. Yeah. But there was this drive inside me that just wanted to prove everyone wrong. I had a chip on my shoulder since I was about 15, just to prove those people wrong that I deserved to play because of not my last name. Yeah.
We talk about the chip all the time, don't we?
Massively. I think the sporting background for us, you get it. You don't know you're learning it at the time, but you definitely are. And you come out the other side of it in life and you look back and you go, wow, what an apprenticeship. Yes, in the sport, but in life in general. How to work as a team, how to step into a changing room of blokes who are fucking been there and done it.
Yeah.
And got the t-shirt or a business. How to rock up every single day when it's pissing cold and wet and you can't be asked. Click your brain into gear and deliver.
Yep. How
to play when you're under pressure, when you don't feel well, and you know you could easily rather be someone behind the goal watching rather than actually on the pitch. So there's moments of fork in the road almost that you have 3-4 times a week in the professional environment.
Yep.
What they do for you when you get out of that and come into the normal world We call it a superpower.
Yeah, it's true. Like, you guys are in the recruiting world. I'm sure if you sat down with business owners and said, "Hey, what do you want in a person that works for you?" 8 out of 10 on that list is going to be the values that we learn as an athlete at a sporting club. You know, because we have that drive, determination, loyalty, commitment, all that stuff that any business owner wants their employees to be. And yeah, it does. It really does set you up. You know, teamwork, culture, those things I've been learning since I was 14, 15 years of age, and how important those things are. Setting goals to succeed, all those things translate not just into sport, but into everyday life. And to be completely honest with you, the resilience and the headstrong that I've kind of carried with me through my life, it's probably all due to a lot of that kind of stuff from that 15 to 23, whatever it was when I finished my career. So yeah, I'm grateful for that kind of experience, but it was, you know, I was fast tracked quite quickly. Yeah. And when I was, so 2005, I was drafted. There was no education or knowledge or support around anxiety or stress or mental health and how to deal with any of those things. So when I was walking around a football club in front of these teammates of mine that were stars, you know, like the Chris Judds of the world or the Brendan Favolas and that, you guys probably don't know who they are, but then I'm sure your viewers or your listeners might know who they are. So, yeah, and these are guys that I'd idolized and I'd grown up watching, and these are the freaks of our sport. And for me, I was petrified of them seeing or hearing that I was struggling kind of behind the scenes, and didn't want them to think that I didn't have what it takes to become an AFL player. And, you know, so you get on with just wanting to be that hard worker, be that kind of manly type of person. To shove away those feelings. And that to me was my detriment, because, you know, that was my downfall in a lot of ways, not just from a mental health perspective, but my preparation suffered. You know, I got put on medication for my depression at one point during my career. And, you know, one of the side effects with that was weight gain. And at the time, I didn't really ask questions about that. And when I found out, it's like, well, why am I taking this medication for? I'm losing my ability to play AFL football because I'm putting on weight. And not only that, but also, like, at the footy club at the time, this is how archaic it was, is that where we had a thing on the wall that was called the Fat Club.
Fuck yeah, we had one of those.
You had one of them?
Yeah, I was in it.
Oh, yeah.
I was captain.
So you're on the top of the list? So literally, like, again, I try and get you listeners, put yourself in like a 19-year-old's kind of mindset where you're trying to prove to the world that you're good enough and that you should be here, and you train your ass off, you're first there, last to leave, but then you're dealing with an anxiety, depression challenge that you've never heard of before or experienced, being given some medication, but then the side effect is weight gain. And the most petrifying thing to you would be to hear name to be up on a board in front of your whole of your teammates. Just fuels that anxiety and that stress of that kind of fuck, I can't do this or whatever. So that was it was a bit of a churning kind of experience and environment for me that kind of got me in, created a bit of a monster in me, and then kind of spat me out, which wasn't great.
How did you deal with, you've become an AFL player, you've been drafted, like that's most young lads, I assume, in Australia's dream, if it's anything like England.
Yep.
And so you've done it, and people must think from the outside you live in this perfect life, but then internally you're diagnosed with depression and put on medication. Like, how did you deal with that, regardless of all those other factors we just spoke about, the kind of recurring theme?
Yeah, mate, it was hard. It was really tough because the signs for me, I was having anxiety, panic attacks driving off to training, and I couldn't drive the car. My hands would, I'd have like T-Rex arms because the blood would push so hard to the surface of my skin, my capillaries, it would cause a friction, and I couldn't hold my steering wheel. And I was in panic attacks and crying and stuff like that. And that might happen. I started having them once every fortnight. Then it grew into kind of once a week and so forth. And then eventually it got to a point, where I just had enough. And I'm like, fuck, I'm done. And then I went home to the farm and then sat around a table with my old man and stuff like that. And I had to start then talking about what the hell I was going through, because I just quit footy. Still had another year to go. But off the back of that, sat down and just started talking to mum and dad a little bit more. And I was really scared of what my dad would think of me opening up and saying I'm crying and all these type of things. And, you know, because again, he's pretty old school kind of character, and his generation just like fucking wouldn't even go near it. So, but to my surprise, he handled it very differently. And as families, most of them are, mate, very supportive. And I certainly had that, and went back to the football club. And that's when I was diagnosed at the time. So to answer your question directly, how did I handle it? I handled it pretty rough, with the acceptance of that a part of who I was, my identity. And then I guess making those next kind of inroads into what that kind of looked like for me, my mental health, was challenging with the medication. I stopped using it because of the side effects of it. I just got back to becoming a footballer. I had that 1 year to go, and you boys know what it's like when you're competing for your contract. You don't want anything getting in the way. And all I just focused on was that, and that it helped for a period, but ultimately I wasn't really dealing with the diagnoses of my mental illness at the time, of depression and anxiety. So
then you get to,
I didn't handle it too well.
Yeah. You get to the back end of the contract then.
Yep.
Not renewed.
No.
Where were you at mentally then? And how did you deal with the news that, hey, Jake, we're not going to be renewing your contract, mate. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. So I've never had that conversation, even till this point, sitting here on this couch right now. So I'm still waiting on the call from the footy club today to give me that chat. So
they just ghosted you.
The quick story goes like this. So when I got my shit together in my mind and started playing better footy at the back end of my career at Carlton, they actually, at the end of the year, they sat me down. They actually offered me another year on the contract. And I said, no, I need to get out of here. Because people experience mental health, feel we need to change an environment or a change, we change scenery or whatever it might be, fucking buy a car or change something new in our lives. For me, it was an environment at a footy club. And the footy club who gave me an invite to come and do a pre-season at was the Western Bulldogs, which my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my dad had all played in that footy club. And it was the first time I walked into an environment where I felt, I was at home. So I had a pre-season there and trained my ass off, super fit, was feeling really good. Mental health was in a really good place, got on top of all that. Sat down with the coach at various times over that period for about a 3-month pre-season period. And, the communication to me was very clear that they were going to draft me and pick me up and off we go. Draft day had come. The club said to me, don't come training, just go have the day off. I remember I was sitting at a cafe in South Melbourne having a coffee with someone, and my phone rang. It was my mum, and I thought, she was going to congratulate me, but the draft had finished and my name hadn't been called out.
That's brutal.
Person who called me next was my manager, which was a pretty kind of tough conversation to have. But yeah, like I said, still to this day, I haven't had that phone call. And that was the hardest thing, just that closure. When you break up with the missus and you just need that last chat where you just can just close it. Yeah. So that for me, I mean, obviously I'm fine with it now, but as a 22-year-old at the time, coming to terms with that was fucking pretty bad. It's like just being dumped to the curb, and then that was it. That was it for me. I had a chance. I could have went back to the VFL, which is the step under AFL, and then train and might have got onto another list. But I just hated fucking footy, man. I was over it. I just felt like I'd been burnt. I I'm a victim. I felt like I just needed to get away from the whole game in general. Yeah, and that was it. That was the last time I played AFL football. Yeah. And then you mix that with the mental health problems that I'd had. And then that's when that kind of next 4-year period of my life really kicked into, the serious abuse. Yeah.
Serious abuse is in what you did from there?
Yeah, just alcohol and drugs and partying, just way too much. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a beer and I love carrying on and that every now and then. But it got to a point that it was relentless. It was constant. And it got to a point where it was becoming an addictive problem.
Yeah.
And it was purely just an escape to mask a lot of the things that were going on in my life at the time, and not dealing with the core problems of the depression stuff that I was experiencing. I felt a lot of shame and a lot of identity crisis with my family. So yes, they were there for me, but I really kept them at arm's length because I didn't want to. I just felt like I let them down because the whole football thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be around them. Just didn't want them looking at me like I was someone who failed in the name. Yeah.
And that's probably in your head, but when you reflect on it, it probably wasn't what they were thinking.
Of course not. No, definitely not. No, it was all in my head. Yeah. And that's got a lot to do with that 14-year-old me, having that kind of rose-colored glasses about looking at my career, and I wanted to become the 100-game premiership player and have the send-off like we all do. But yeah, I hadn't prepared myself for that story, and I was dealing with it on the fly. Like it was tough. Yeah,
there's no support around it, and in the pro game in England, like you get dumped on your ass, don't you? You get pulled into a room. My conversation was, I think you're good enough, but you're probably an inch too short to be a goalkeeper. They were the exact words the manager said. So he's like, so I'm not offering you a pro contract. And that was it. You walk out that door at 18 and I'm like...
But now the hardest thing is you have to then walk back into the room where all the other lads
pack
are
your
sat.
shit.
Remember? Like the whole youth team, we sat in like the canteen and then one by one you get called in.
Yeah,
so you have to go in, get good news or bad news, come back out and then just sit there and you not fucking cry your eyes out, right?
It's like baseball. Have you seen how they get let down in baseball?
Nah.
They just call them, same thing. They're in the bullpen when they want to call it and they pull them into the office. They don't fuck around, man. They just get them sit down and go, look, thanks for everything, but we're cutting you. All the best. Go speak to such and such. They'll sort you out. And they just get up and walk out, go pack their shit and they walk out. That
was literally it. I would walk back into the room. I say to the boys, it's a no for me. And then after all the answers, you'll just get your stuff and you just get in your car. And I remember just sitting in the car, just kind of like, the fuck just happened? I literally just been told you're good enough, but you're an inch too short.
Yeah. It's brutal, mate.
That's hard because you can't control that, right?
Yeah.
No. So sorry.
Yeah. But that's kind of one thing I wish I had is support around that time, both from what to do next, actually career-wise, but also how to deal with that as a young lad that's just had your dreams crushed. Yep. And that kind of brings us on to what you actually did after football.
Yeah, so I guess that 4-year period was a lot of in and out of kind of I didn't have any structure in my life. I didn't have a job per se. So as footballers and athletes, you guys get this. You get given a paper at the start of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, time, what to do, where to be, how to think. So I didn't have that in my life. So there's like constant back and forth, which led to the abuse with the substances and so forth. And then, it all just become to a head probably 4 years after my career and pushed a lot of family and friends away and fell into a real isolated period and dark period of my life. Where I attempted to take my life one morning at home, and just very extremely fortunate, mate, to be here and to be talking to you guys about the journey. But look, I won't go kind of into the details around kind of all that because we'll be here for forever. But essentially, straight after that, went into a program back in Victoria because obviously I was fucked. So spent time with proper psychiatrist and spent like in a rehab facility. And I just learned everything there is kind of learn about mental health. And it was never, biggest thing I probably learned was never necessarily the substance as much as it was the underlying issues that I was experiencing and why I felt these things would help me. And they did. They make you feel better and off you go. But once I dealt with that core issue, started educating myself around it, learning a lot more about it. And then I was able to kind of, pull myself out of that period of my life. And I think what you just identified just before, Halves, was not having that support around you. And the footy world, although it's resourceful, wasn't relatable. So I didn't use any of those resources either. And I wish I had have. And I set up the program at the time outside the locker room, which is the charity that I ended up founding. Just through that experience, I didn't really know what I was doing with it at the time. I just realised that my doctor one day said to me, he goes, "Mate, what do you want to do the rest of your life?" And I'm like, fuck, I don't really know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm trying to really stay clean. So I'm not too concerned about So I sat down and had a real deep think about it and thought, well, maybe I'm in a place now where I can share my story with a few people and see if it resonates. And did that early and just realised, mate, that I did it at my local football club, just spoke about it. And then made off the back of that, within 12 months, I'd gone out to about 40 sporting clubs.
Oh.
And then realised that there's a need for a program. I never seen myself as like a founder of it. I never seen myself as someone who was like a pin-up boy for mental health or suicide prevention or anything like that. It was more just like I could see the community suffering with the lack of support for these things. And people who run local grassroots sport are mum and dads, they're parents. They work jobs every day. So they've got no idea where to go, what to do.
Yeah.
So the program was just built off that basis, really. And using my story, one, but also the fact that I was an AFL player coming into a club where kids as young as 12 were, fuck, this is an AFL player talking about this.
It's just thinking the weight of the fact that you've been there and done it.
Yeah.
And like I said, what people probably think is the absolute dream to then go and share the struggles you had and get to the point you tried to take your own life.
Yep.
I think it really hits then,
Yep.
whether that's right or wrong, because there's people that don't become pro sports people that still try and take their lives and have the same struggles, but maybe it's not taken as seriously because you're in the flashing lights that everyone thinks should be such a dream world.
It's a sad reality, but that's the early identification that I found, that I could go in and speak to a group of kids and put my highlight video on, which went for 30 seconds. It wasn't long. But the kids would just see that I played the MCG in front of 80,000 people, and then they'd hear me talk about mental health and they make the connection.
Just listen.
Where, if someone else who didn't have that background went in, it's probably just another guest speaker.
Yeah.
And they're unable to connect. So I leveraged that quite significantly. And I identified that as our point of difference that could really kind of help us get out. And yeah, we did, mate. It was great. Like, we rolled it out. I worked my ass off for about 3 years getting out, and it grew every year. Kind of, I think at one point before we got funding, I was up to about 150 sporting clubs a year. But then when we got funding one year from the government, which was just changed our world. Like, we went from
For the better?
Yeah, for the better, for the better I'll say the better for the program, the community, not the better for my mental health.
Okay, sure. Why is that?
Well, it's funny because I got into it. So we got funding of about, I think it was about 5 million from the government to roll out to 300 sporting clubs a year, 300 sporting clubs, 100 schools a year in WA.
Oh, wow.
And then that kind of stretched across the country. So we went into Brisbane. We partnered with the Brisbane Lions, Sydney Swans. We started getting some leverage into those things. Eventually, we rolled out annually per year. It was about 480 sporting clubs a year that we rolled it out. But what that did was, mate, I went from a founder to a CEO, which I was not prepared for. Like, I had no training or knowledge around it. I remember being around the board. So our committee and that, I remember there at times begging them to get me out of this CEO role. Yeah, because I'm not.
What's the key differences, mate, for people who necessarily aren't business minded?
Yep.
When you're a founder to then now you're a CEO with government funding, which requires all the reporting, I'm sure that it would. What were the key changes?
Well, the governance being one, and the lack of experience that I had on how to handle that, and the management and stress that brings with it as well, which, mate, going from a founder was more of an entrepreneurial kind of mindset where I dream big. I love what I'm doing. I get out there, be the face of it. I'm happy to be that person. But then what I found is the more the charity grew, the less I was getting out in that side of the business, if you want to call it, and then being pulled down more into the admin stuff and the meetings and things like that. Yeah. And that for me was extremely eating me up inside. But then, on the flip side of that, mate, because I was the face of it, I remember one year I did something stupid it was about just under 300 public speaking gigs for the year. So some days I was doing 2 a day, most of them every week, just about every day we're doing something. So whether it was a presentation online, whether it was, going out to a school or going to a sporting club, whatever it might be. And our program was over a 12-month period. So it wasn't one sporting club wouldn't have one visit and then we'd leave and then see you later. It was 4 visits over the year. So once you're locked in 400 sporting clubs, that's 1,200, 1,600 visits in total for the year. So a lot of that wasn't me, but most of the first part of it was. And that really became fucking hard to manage, just from a mental health perspective in general.
Just burnout and pushing yourself too far.
Burnout's probably the word I'm looking for, for that. And then experiencing everyone's emotions in the room as well. So I'd go and talk, and then when I'd finish, a lot of people would come up, parents and that have lost kids or whatever. Yeah. So I wasn't equipped and skilled to handle a lot of the people's stuff. Right. And because I'm someone who wants to help everyone and try and support, I found that really difficult to kind of walk away from, cut it. And what I eventually did is I grew this kind of muscle that I became so detached from my story that every time, by the end of it, by the time I was getting up and talking about it, I was literally just felt like I was just in third gear.
Acting almost.
Yeah, almost like speaking about someone else.
Yeah, I did. Literally did, 100%. And that to me was probably ultimately why I, when the opportunity came up with a TV show to go on there, even though it was MAFS, it was like, fuck, here's an opportunity for me to do something different and to challenge myself again and put myself out there and just break away a little bit from that kind of routine over here. And COVID had happened, so there was a bit going on. And I was like, I just need a fucking change. Yeah.
That's a really interesting decision because you obviously, from all the travel and all the public speaking where you're in the public eye effectively and all these people coming up to you and you're kind of wearing their weight, the mindset to kind of that change and that break to go and put yourself on national TV.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I was nuts. No, there was two things to it. So a friend of mine knew one of the producers on the show. She, without my knowledge, had spoken to her about me. I had some media stuff that I'd done for the charity, like Channel 9 and things like that, just spruiking what we were doing, which was great. They kind of did their research, found out what I was doing, found me on Instagram, messaged me through there. And I remember looking at it and reading it one day, and I got excited by it. I got to be, and it wasn't the fact that it was the show; it was the fact that I saw an opportunity to just kind of get into something and challenge myself again. I don't know what that part of me is, but it was certainly a part of me that thought, "Fuck, I can do something completely different here, and see what happens."
Let's have it then, mate, because it's a fucking weird show. I've tried to watch it with the missus and I can't get my head around it. And I'm sure being on it,
what do you want to know?
A very different experience to actually watching it.
I want to know what they set it up as. Like, do they go, do they genuinely believe everyone's going to go on there and find love? Do they say that? Or is it, hey, just let's make some fucking good TV?
Well, from a participant point of view, they sell it to you as if that's how it's done. But as the show goes on, and then you get to learn and see the producers and the what do you call it, the beast of that show, how big it is, like behind the scenes, it's fucking huge. Like I think they pump like 130 million into that production every time they do it. So it's massive. Or they might make that and they put in less, whatever it is. It's a huge amount of money. So there's no doubt at all, mate, they put the wrong people together. Yeah. Because that's what makes drama. That's what people watch and that's why. And they always try and get a couple that might work to really sell the dream for the next. That's the one, for the next series, and it's 101. So the big dog on the producer. She's the smartest woman I think that I've ever met in media across my journey, because I had a few conversations with her throughout. And when there's people where you meet, when you walk in, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do this and do that. And you walk out and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. She's done I agreed to something I didn't think I was going to do. Oh. And now, and now she's got me. Like, fuck, it's just one of those people that, she's just like great lady, but extremely manipulative and, made you feel a certain way. That was a good thing, but not for the longevity of your mental health.
You don't meet the woman until she walks down the aisle?
That's correct, yeah.
You actually
That
don't.
is correct,
And were your family like there, like you've seen on the TV?
So it was COVID, right? So my family couldn't come up. So I had a couple of friends that were in Sydney. Yeah. My best mate had flown up and quarantined just to be on the show.
To sit there.
Because he's loved it. He was way more into it than I was. He's like, fuck yeah, I'm coming, let's go. Which was great because that support was incredible. But how it works on that wedding day, so it's not a wedding as such. It's all set up as a wedding. Yeah. It's funny how they film it. Hey, so I'll be standing at the end of the aisle on the carpet, and then they'd have you facing obviously away from her, and then they'll have people walking down the aisle. Now you don't know this at the time. They're filming the whole thing. So they get the bridesmaids to walk down first.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you to turn around now and then see the bridesmaids coming down. And you don't know that. So you turn around, you might see a bridesmaid that you might think that that's your wife.
Yeah.
Of course.
And your reaction, there could be 4 different reactions on your face by the time your actual wife comes down. So you can see how they manipulate the editing potentially to grab that one. Oh, we love that reaction to the bridesmaid. Let's take that one and make it look like that was his reaction to the wife coming down.
Yeah. Were there any bridesmaids that you were like, oh, you can't?
No, I won't be rude, but no, there was. So I was fortunate enough that my bride on the show, she's extremely attractive, like very good looking girl. So when I turned around and looked at Beck and that, I was stoked because she's hot.
Yeah.
So that for me was never an issue on the show. I was super, and I was I was probably in a position then that I was pretty open to kind of anything. I wasn't like going to be. I didn't care whether she looked a certain way or whatever it might have been, but I was happy, mate, that they did that part of it right. Anyway, not sure about the whole package of her, but it's definitely the looks in that was great.
So what goes on then? So I haven't watched the show too much, right?
Yeah.
So after that filming day, you met them for the first time.
Yeah.
Do the cameras turn off? They leave you to it, or like, what's the go?
Yeah, so that happens a bit on and off.
Yeah.
So the frustrating thing about that is that they get you to, once you see her for the first time, she comes down, they film that organic interaction, but then they'll get her to walk down maybe 3 or 4 more times.
Yeah.
Because they'll move cameras, they'll do this and that. So what you see on the edit might have been the 3rd take here, the 4th take there, the 1st take there. It's crammed in the one. So people don't see a lot of that, or don't see that at all. And then when that's done, you do your vows and all that type of stuff. And then, so with your vows, that's an interesting thing. So you write your vows, but then you give it to the producer. They kind of, mix them around, give some suggestions, and then give them back to you and say, hey, what do you think of these? And eventually you got to tick it off. But you can see how it's all been kind of pulled around and manipulated in a sense, which is quite funny.
Does that take away from the experience? Because I know when we had Tucky on here, Tucky obviously went on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And Jack went in and pitched because Tucky was proper nervous and didn't want to do it. Yeah. And then the Sharks were like, now we want to meet the business partner. And like he was telling us a story where he walked in and they were like, come on, mate, look a bit happier. Like you look like you're shitting yourself. So then he tried it again and they were like, no, not that happy. Like, go and do it again.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck do you want me to do?
Yeah, and I can guarantee they're trying to get a reaction out of him. So they'll want him to kind of react in a certain way or whatever. So that happens all the time on the show, all the time.
It's just pure mind games.
Yeah, even at the start. Then because every couple has their own producer, and then those producers feed into the kind of bigger. So it's like a legit, mate, fucking business structure, the way it's worked. And even on the wedding day, so what they'll do, they'll pull us apart constantly. So we'd come together and then they pull us apart and they do the just meet a camera, her to camera by themselves. And they'll ask you questions. What do you think? What was your first reaction? Is he good looking? Is she good looking? So, and that would happen fucking daily, mate, 10 times, like constantly, all the time. But the things as the show went on, you could see the narrative that they're building. You could hear it in the questions they were asking you.
Yeah.
I knew what was going on. I'm not an idiot. I knew what was going on, and my wife on the show, she bought into it, the whole storyline immensely. So I knew that they were pushing us down a certain kind of narrative for the audience at home to see us as a couple. Yeah, it's just by the question they were asking. That they were really trying to put a divide between her and I. But then bring us back together, divide, back together. By the questions again, some of the questions might be things like, if Beck had said something to me, and and maybe I didn't kind of pick up on it at all, we'd go away and do our piece to camera. The producer would be like, oh, can you believe that she called you that? Did you hear her call you this? Or how does that make you feel when she calls you? I'd be like, what'd you say? What do you mean? And she'd like tell me, and I'm like,
but they're filming all this.
Yeah, and then there's a bit of that happens, but I got along with our producer really well. She was actually really, really nice because I kind of felt like she was on my side most of the time.
Could you call her out though? Could you go like, hey, you're just doing this for TV?
There were times when I was like, I'm not going to answer your questions because I know what you're trying to do. Like, I'm happy to answer a line of questioning, but not where you're going with the questions.
But
yeah,
Beck wouldn't have. She'd have just gone, oh, that's absolutely out of it.
He called me what? He called me what? He only played 5 games.
But it's funny because she dated an AFL player before me, and one of her things was that she didn't want to get matched with an AFL player.
So yeah, perfect. You walk in, they go fucking shaky.
And that was like, that's obviously for her was a trigger thing.
Yeah.
And that obviously set us off in the best possible light, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But that whole experience, mate, was like, it was ruthless. So yeah, I had no idea kind of what I was walking into because I got poached for the show probably, I kind of got first introduced to the producer team kind of 4 months out.
Yeah.
But then I literally didn't hear from them at all until 3 weeks before we started filming. And they flew me up to Sydney, quarantined, and then I was at the wedding. Like, literally hadn't heard nothing at all. I actually messaged them and said, are we done? And they're like, no, here's your details. Come up. Yeah, you're in.
You're on.
So,
do they give you any sort of support or preparation, or do they do any background checks? Because, like in your instance, right, you've had serious mental health issues.
Yep.
It sounds like at the time you had no TV experience. It sounds like they run quite a manipulative process.
Yep.
Do they give you any support of how to deal with the camera and stuff like that, or
No, they didn't, but they did their checks. So we had to go through a psych analysis and did all those type of things to start off with, and they, because of my media experience beforehand, they knew who I was and what I was about in that sense. So I guess there is some form of it. Then there is, I believe, a class action at the moment against the network for the neglect with things like that. Saying that you're putting people in these positions, understanding already who they are as people and their history potentially. And I got asked to be a part of it. I said, no, I'm not going to be a part of it. Like, I knew what I was getting into. It was my call. I took responsibility for it completely. But it's always the people who complain, the people who got the shit edits on the show. They're always coming out looking the bad people on it, where I was just treated and edited just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But that's just how I was on the show. So I always say to people, and I've had people reach out to me that are thinking of going on it or being asked to go on it. And I would just say, mate, just be yourself. Like, if you just do that, if you don't act like a dick, you don't get sucked into the narrative and you just stay consistent, they can't edit you in a bad way if you're not being a bad fucking person.
Yeah.
Truthful.
That's it. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Two Blokes One Business podcast.
Now, apart from being world-class podcasters, we also run a recruitment agency called Harwell.
If you're keen to learn a little bit more about what we do, then head over to our Instagram at Harwell Group and check us out.
Back to the app.
So, yeah, mate, it was pretty full. And there were times, mate, to give you an understanding of how stressful it was, is that if you show footage of me on the first ceremony, so our wedding day, all right, and then you show the footage of me at the very back end. So I was on there from start to finish. They call that the commitment ceremony at the very end. You'll see 2 different people, right? I lost 8 kilos on the show.
Shit.
Weren't you running like 20 Ks a day, you were telling me?
Yeah,
just
so
escape from it all.
Just to get away from it, because Sydney was open then, so COVID wasn't as bad, so we could get out. People were in the streets and stuff like that. But to cope with a lot of the anxiety with it is that the producers just give me time, whether it was the morning, whenever the day, to say, put your runners on and go for a run. So, yeah, mate, I got to a point where I was running like 2 half marathons a week, towards the end, just to kind of have that release from just my insanity, to be honest with you, because of the filming component is really hard to describe, because as soon as you kind of wake up, within an hour, you've got a crew in your room. And then you kind of get planned out for the day, whether you're doing an activity or you're doing dinner or whatever it might be. And that's one thing you can put up with. But the dinner parties, which were like the most emotionally exhaustive things, because you're filming till well past midnight. They're just giving you alcohol with less food, and
they just get you smashed.
They just pretty much get you on the edge, yeah. Jeez. And then they get you in a room, mate, and you've got 12 people who are fucking
sauced up
over it, and it's just the ends. I know I'm not someone who loves conflict. I'm not someone who wants to cause it. If someone goes me, different story. But if I don't want to be in a room where that's happening, I'll just remove myself. Well, you can't escape it when you're in this.
And certain people love it as well. Certain people
just, and those are the people, the characters they get on the show. You know what I mean? So that's what makes content. That's what makes people want to watch it. But then the commitment ceremony, so the couch ceremonies every Sunday, whatever it was, and when we did it, mate, the first one, because there was so many of us, we didn't get home till like 4 a.m. And we started at like 6 the night before. So they were just exhaustive. One of the boys in that fell asleep on the couch just because it was that late, and he was just he was over it. Yeah. Fuck. So that adds to the mental exhaustion. Of it,
Talk to us about transitioning out of that world, because it would have been quite a change, and I don't know the timelines, but you've gone from being on TV at MAFS and then going to a Hare Krishna farm. Yeah. Was it that quick, or?
No, not necessarily. So when you film the show, you come off, there's promotion of it online. So everyone now starts to know, join the dots, Jake's going to be on MAFS, right? Yeah. So I started getting a lot more kind of people noticing you quite a bit. But you film it and you know what's being filmed. So you're like, I know what's coming, right? So for that next 2 months, you're kind of just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden the commercials come on TV, and then boom, it's up, right? And I watched the first episode, and that's the only episode that I watched. I didn't watch.
Still to this day?
Yeah, still to this day, yeah. Literally, I didn't even watch the last commitment or the last reunion show, which is when we found out that the chick I was Beck, she cheated on me through the show. So that whole experience was fucking just wiped. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because of what happened on that last reunion show. And she got busted back home kissing another bloke while she was still filming with me on the show and stuff like that. So I kind of felt really, I don't know, I felt I was cheated on in front of all of Australia,
Fuck. Yeah.
Which in some sense, looking back now, made me look like Prince Charming, which was great. You know what I mean?
Funny player.
So it worked from that sense.
Yeah.
Coming off the show on TV, mate, I couldn't fucking go down the street and get a coffee, mate, without talking to people, getting photos. It was intense. The whole time the show was filmed, especially once it finished, there was a period there. I remember I actually went out to a club here. This is going to sound really kind of stupid, but went to a nightclub, mate, and the bouncers had to put us into a private room at the back because I could not get from the front door to the bar. Jeez. Literally, like it was out of control. I felt like Justin Bieber, man. And that's not one word out of a lie. Like it was fucking overwhelming, and it was just huge. And I wasn't even drinking at that point. So yeah, it was full on. It was intense. The popularity of the show, it's underestimated until you come off it. It's the highest rated show in Australia. Those dinner parties get nearly 2 million people watching it every Sunday whenever they're on. And you don't know that until you experience the full force of it. And then so they take control of your social media while it's airing. Yeah. But then when it stops airing, you get it back. And then your phone just absolutely just blows up. Yeah. And then off you go. But yeah, mate. So off the back of that, I was actually dating a girl here on the Gold Coast. She was an influencer. That was a shit show in itself. Like that was just a fucking 8-week just, oh mate, that
whirlwind.
It was literally just something that I look at and go, what the fuck was I doing? Like I don't identify with that person at all, coming off the show, being pulled into that environment and being, I guess, taken advantage of in some regard, but losing myself in the process. And then we then got to a point where we had broken up.
Do you regret doing the show?
No, I don't regret doing the show. I certainly don't, because I met some good people on the show. I'm grateful to be to talk about it, like to share the experience with people on that. I get emotional. I laugh about it. You know, I don't sit here and think it hasn't damaged me or my reputation or anything like that. It hasn't done anything negative like in that sense. But it certainly challenged me. Like I think I've been challenged before. So yeah, I don't. One of my best mates is on the show, Jason, who came to my wedding and still good mates with him.
He ran the marathon with us.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's right. So
another cannon, mate.
Yeah, another dog.
Another dog.
So yeah, and then when we broke up, that was so fucking public because of her profile. And it was all the gossip things, and there was a narrative said about us and me that was just, it was horrendous. Like it was so bad. And only petty people read that shit, but you can't escape it in your head. You know it's out there and you know it's online. And that's where my best mate said to me, he goes, man, we got to get you the fuck away from society. Like you need a restart. And hence the Hare Krishna kind of, my introductory to Hare Krishna, which is
what is that? I'd not heard the word until you told me on a run once.
Yeah, so it's so Hare Krishna is a religion. It's a belief. They believe in Krishna, which is a form of God for them. Just like Buddhism and Hinduism, things like that. So what I guess the best way to explain a Hare Krishna experience is they have farms around Australia. I went to the one I got put into was down in Victoria. My best mate, Caleb, he had been now, I guess, committing to the way of life of a Hare Krishna for probably a year up to that point. And he was what you would call a devotee to it. And then I knew he was a part of it, but I didn't know the details of it. And then he literally picked me up one day from mum and dad's farm and drove me out there and left my phone, everything. Because at the farm, there's monks, okay? So that's what they are, devotees, they're monks. And they have a way of life that you have to be a part of in order to stay at the farm. So it's pretty straightforward. So there's no addiction, so no drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, caffeine, smoking, nothing at all. You can't touch anything, right? And caffeine's coffee, so you can't have coffee or anything like that. What else is there? There's no things like even addiction to the point of any like betting, gambling, any certain particular behavior. It goes really deep in terms of any form of addiction. But they're vegan or vegetarian, so you can't eat any meat. And they have a lifestyle that's probably, when I walked into it, just looking at it going, this is a fucking cult. Like this is like, what the fuck has he put me in? Yeah. This is so way out of my world.
Yeah.
That I had no idea what I was actually walking into. Had no idea. But when I got there, a guy named Keshavar, who's the lead monk at the farm, just the sweetest guy, man, that I'd met in my life. And yeah, man, he took me under his wing. It really is hard to explain, like what you do on a day to day. So a day to day. So in order to be there and stay there, you have to commit again to their whole life. You can't half-ass it. You can leave at any time, but I had to be there. My commitment to my parents was 4 weeks. And so no TVs, no radio, no phones, no nothing. There's no distract. I don't believe in distractions, and it's full commitment to their purpose. So every day I'd wake up early at about 4:30. I'd walk down and they'd have cows, because cows in that religion, that's their like fucking that's part of their real god. Yeah. And milk the cows. So you milk fucking cows in the morning.
Oh, this is good.
So you're on a farm.
Okay,
so you've gone from MAFS to milking cows at
MCG for 80,000 people.
Right, it gets better. So
oh god,
it gets better. So I'll come back to the cows in a minute and why that's so fun and how far I got into the actual belief of the whole thing.
Talking about the cows.
So that's the first thing you jump to. So anyway, and then you do that, and then there's another monk there who's like the farm manager. His name's Marty Griever. He'd give you chores for the day, and that looked like anything at any time what you would do on a farm. But what the chores they were giving me were intentional, and I didn't realize at the time. So the first day, I know he fucking quit and walked out and cracked shit. So they had a pile of firewood that was already chopped up. So my job, it would have been probably, say, 2 meters high by 5 meters wide. And my job for that day was to move every piece of firewood 10 meters to the right.
Fuck it.
That was it. So I had to move that pile from there over to the right. That was my only job.
That was it.
That was
Did
it.
they tell you why? Or they just say, no, you got to do
Just
that?
got to do it. No. So they give you no like reason. There's no kind of thing. I just bought into the fact that I'm here. What they say goes. I just got to do it.
I can imagine you fucking moving that wood in
Mate.
your head. Going, this is
The
shit.
noise, right? So I get about half an hour into it, and then you start realizing, what the fuck am I doing here? Why am I moving? I'm picking up wood and moving it to the right, and the stories and the anger that comes out in your head was just brutal, like brutal. But I was crying, mate, like an hour into it. I was bawling my eyes out. And I finished it, right? And then I'm like, this is fucked. I want to get home. I'm not doing this anymore. And then you kind of relax and you kind of, no, I'm going to be here. So then you go, I'll come back get back the next day. So the next day, my chore was that I was picking potatoes out of the ground.
I thought you were going to say
And
move
then
it back.
To the left, I know.
No, move it back. Could you imagine? So some of the chores were things like that. They're real mundane, slow things. And then I'd pick potatoes and put them into these wooden crates. That was one day. The next day was going back to the potatoes and washing them and putting them into another crate, which would take another full day. One day we had to plant these little plants. We were only probably half a foot high, and it went for a kilometre, 1.5 kilometres fence line, and they were planted about this far apart. So you spent the whole day these whole chores were intentional, put you in your own head. There was no one around. I had this one guy there. You could talk to him, obviously. We actually become good friends. But a lot of the time, you're alone. You're doing your own thing. So I didn't realize it until it kind of got going and moving. It clicked. I'm like, I fucking get it. I get why.
That's why just say you're in your own head and all these thoughts come out.
Just to be in your head.
Just to be on your own.
And then you realize, fuck, I hate myself. Like the chatter that I have between my ears, I wouldn't talk to my fucking worst enemy, the shit I say to myself.
Wow.
And that for me was a real kind of grounding moment where I'm like, I've done mental health clinics, I've done fucking rehab, but this farm for me, that penny drop for me, like was like I fucking get it. I get life in a lot of ways.
Wow.
So
I remember you've said to me before that the farm saved your life.
it did. It really honestly did. Because I think that I hadn't gone through that, I probably would have come out and just went back to the old person. So I walked into that farm. I had a property, right? I had just broken up with that relationship, but there was still some kind of cup. What do you call it? We hadn't kind of closed off a lot of things. I was a CEO at the charity still, right? And I was living in Victoria, right? I walked into that farm. Before I left, I'd sold my house. I'd cut off completely with that past relationship. I'd quit my job at the charity, and I decided to move to Gold Coast. So when I walked in, I had all this stuff, and then I walked out. I had nothing at all, absolutely nothing.
Fresh start.
It was just the most, it was just an incredible experience being in that farm. And maybe it was the environment they created where I felt safe, where I felt calm. I felt I could really be just present without any distractions and things like that. And
it sounds awesome, to be honest. I'm like, how nice would that be?
It just highlights the world we're in of social media and accessibility. It's no wonder that mental health's so high and so many people are killing themselves. It's just because it's impossible to switch off.
It honestly, mate, is. And then until you're forced to be, and I was forced to be in that position, but 2 weeks in, that glass comes back and then you can just see everything. This is going to sound really fucking stupid, right? But this is what I was experiencing. I could smell better. I was tasting things better. When I would have a shower, I could feel the water on my skin like I'd never felt ever before in my life. It's almost like I had this new, lease on, like I'd just been reborn.
Yeah.
It sounds silly, and I know it's not the case,
I can
but
imagine the feeling.
I can see it. I can see it.
just spiritually, it just felt like a thing for me. The timing of it all hadn't gone, and what I'd gone through before I got in there was such a threshold of stress and anxiety. It was so high. So I could have probably went anywhere and felt better. But this experience there, and the food, although I love my meat and still do, I went in there really concerned about that. But mate, I was as fit and as strong and as ripped as I'd ever been. I was in there for a long time.
Yeah, how long were you there for?
So I was in there for just over 4 weeks, but then I was kind of back and forth. So probably about 6 weeks, all up, I'd say. Yeah. And it was just fucking incredible, mate. And you chant, right? So again, you had to buy into their whole thing. And so there's 2 days a week where they do, they do chanting and stuff. So they come together and all the monks and that, anyone at the farm would come and they do what they call a kirtan, which is a gathering of people, spiritual people and that. And they're all just like you and I. People walk in, you wouldn't think that a Hare Krishna, and walk into the temple. And then, there's this same kind of chant and that they do. And so it's meditation. But it's verbalizing meditation, and it creates a vibrancy kind of in the room, which at first when I heard it, I'm like, this is fucking weird. Right?
Yeah.
But then by the end of it, mate, you're dancing, you're up. The whole point of their whole belief is removing ego and just getting rid of it and just being just you. So it was great, mate. So there was a guy there who I was with. He was a full devotee, so I spent a lot of time with him. So he was teaching me a lot about their kind of beliefs and stuff like that, which was really cool. And him and I used to go up and privately just chant together up in the room. And there was one time we did it where I felt like this incredible euphoric kind of feeling of meditating at that level, which I'd never felt ever before.
Do you still do any of it now?
Yeah, I do. So if I'm having a tough week or a tough kind of day or whatever, there's chanting that it's on Spotify, and if you just type in Hare Krishna, it'll come up like the chant. You'll hear it. So there's a certain one now I listen to that I always listen to if I'm having a shitty day or a shitty week, and if I'm trying to sleep at night and I can't sleep, I'll just run the chant through my head constantly.
Just does it take you back to that time of
takes
peace?
Me back to it. Yeah, incredible. Wow. Like in the rooms we were staying in, mate, like they weren't fancy. All these are bunks. Like I had to bring my own sheets and my own blanket. It's like going back to school, grade 6 kind of camp.
School trip, yeah.
And it was great. And I think one of the greatest things about that whole experience was on the farm. Marnie Griever, the guy who runs the farm, he's a former singer in like a metal band. So him and I that's
quite a change.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. Well, that's some reasons he got into it, because his lifestyle was like full.
It'd be drugs, everything.
Massive. Yeah. And a lot of people get into Hare Krishna movement have history of abuse and stuff like that, because it's a form of kind of, I guess, belief and lifestyle that requires you to remove all those things out of your life. So and he had a music room there. It's like an old shed out behind his house, and that it was all decked out like a recording studio. So after I'd do all my chores and that, it'd be finished by like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'd always go up there, and he had a drum kit, he had guitars. My best mate Caleb, who's in the music industry, he bought guitars out for me, and I'd just be up there in that music room for 2-3 hours a day, just jamming, playing. He'd come in.
That sounds elite.
And it was about 4 or 5 days into it is when him and I sat down, and that's when I got the chance to ask him these questions, like, why the fuck am I doing this? What's the purpose of all this? He would never give you the direct answer. A typical kind of monk kind of answer. You'd have to get there yourself, and then you have the light bulb moment, and you're like, I get it. So it was pretty cool, man. They got one in just off Byron Bay, Hare Krishna farm down there, which is a bigger version of the one I went to, but the same principle was the same stuff. But
I know we can't give out medical advice on this podcast, but for someone that's in that hole, like you obviously being very open with where you were, would you recommend it?
Oh, 100%. I'll give advice and say, if you need a different avenue, if you try things that aren't working, it can't hurt. It just can't hurt. So if you get there and commit yourself to it, remove a lot of the distractions, and we know we walk back into that community like I had to, and I have, and I'm still a part of it now, but it's just about that kind reminder of what we need at some point is just to fucking find ourselves again.
Just strips everything back. Honestly, I'm just thinking about it now. It sounds
refreshing.
Especially, in the world that, you own a business that we'll dive into, and we own a business.
Yep.
It's just full on all day, every day. You never switch off. The only time you switch off is when you're asleep. Even then, still dream about work. The thought of just going there for 4 weeks and just zen.
Which I know people listening to this might be like, fuck, I've got kids. It's hard. I get it. Not everyone can do what I did and just leave my life and go do 4 week stint.
Yeah.
But even if you had a weekend, just a weekend, or even a work, people do kind of conferences and stuff like that. You can book those things out and go stay there with your team. And although you might not commit to the entire process of it, because the one here in Byron Bay, you can just go stay in the cabins.
And commercial kind of options as well.
Yeah, they do that down there. Yeah, the one I went to, they don't do it, but the one down here they do, to open that up to raise money for the farm, because they live off that farm. Yeah. So I would definitely, mate. I fucking recommend it. And I still talk to Keshava. He's the big dog, and Marnie Griever and that all the time. Like
big cow.
Yeah.
Keshava.
Yeah. I'll come back to the cow. So
I do think you said the one thing, like mental health's been very present in this episode. And I know you say if you've got kids, can you go there for 4 weeks? Mate, I know people who have had dads and stuff that have killed themselves with kids. Like 4 weeks.
Yeah, fine.
To stop you doing that. Yeah. If you're in that real thing, that's fucking.
That's a good point you made.
Just do it.
And I think most partners, like I know mine, I've said this has happened a couple of times with Claire. I'm like, I've got to go spend a week. And she's been like, go. Just go. Yeah. Go get your head sorted. Because I've gone back there plenty of times. Yeah. And just checked in and said g'day and just reconnected with that again. And I know that it's not going to be me forever. I can't fully commit to the whole movement, but I certainly just, when I'm there, I fucking love it. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, it's an incredible thing. Yeah.
It must be so good for you, because mental health, anyone that's had it knows you don't just fix it and it's gone. No. Like, it comes back in different ways, different challenges. But for you to know that you've got that fallback of whenever you're having a tough time, whether it's a weekend or a week, you go back to the farm and it levels you out.
Totally, mate. Yeah, and we've been out, we've had fun, we've enjoyed ourselves and that. And I love, I'm the first man there and I'm the last to leave sometimes. It's just, and I enjoy that kind of release in my life, but I certainly haven't neglected or forgotten about the importance of mental health and my own personal mental health. I love, when I made the move up here to the Gold Coast, it was the greatest thing that I ever did, because it got me out of the old environment of Victoria. I removed myself away from family, so I had to find my own 2 feet. Yeah. And then from there, I was able to really build a life for myself up here in the Goldie. And then meeting my now wife, Claire, what she's given to me in my life is such an incredible foundation of stability, which I never had. So if I looked at all those moments in my life where I was triggered or relapsed, if you want to call it, there was huge issues behind all of that. I never had that real kind of home stability. I had plenty of girlfriends and plenty of instability there, but I think that for her, she's been an incredible ground concrete for me. Yeah.
Love it.
And keeps me accountable, obviously, as well.
Give us the cow, mate.
Oh, the cow. So the cow stuff is funny. I got a video. I'm happy to share it with you. You can share it on the video, on the potty if you want. But so this is actually a thing. It might sound fucking ridiculous, which it does. So a part of one of the beautiful things about being on the farm is that they harvest their own medicinal kind of things, such as like, ashwagandha. What's the other one that makes you sleep and chill out? There's another one there. Anyway, so they've got it all on the farm. So part of what I would do is every now and then to help the guy out, harvest all that, and then we kind of put it through this system and they extract the oils out of it and they'd make like natural, and that's how they make money. They'd sell at the markets and stuff like that. Valerian, that's the other one. Yeah. Valerian. So we do that. And then I was there one day and they were talking about, I can't remember what they call it now, but it's basically cow urine. So what they do is that they...
I think they call it cow piss.
The cow piss, yeah, that's the one. So there's...
Like a true Hare Krishna.
Because,
Jesus Christ.
Well, mate, it's legit. So because of the strong belief of cows and how sacred they are, they believe that the first passing of urine on a cow in the morning is if you drink that will give you, that's all the essentials and vitamins and everything that you need, right? Now, I don't even know if it's factually true. But
you drank cow piss, didn't you?
I drank cow piss. I've got the video.
Fuck yeah.
But it gets better. So, but before I get to that quick, so what they do is that they catch the piss in the morning, right? In like literally like a milk bottle. And then they have like a moonshine set up in one of their huts. So they put the cow piss in it, and it would dilate and it'd pull out all the bad extremities, and then pull out the good part of the urine, and they'd bottle it up, and then again they'd sell it at the farms and stuff like that. That's how they made their money. Yeah. But anyone who's full into Hare Krishna, mate, this is like fucking holy water. Jeez. Cow piss, right? It's huge. So anyway, one morning when we were pretty G'd up and we were kind of having a laugh about it, and then Marnie Grieber's like, he's got in my head, again, how good it was and you need it. And I was at a level in the farm where I'm like, I'm fucking Hare Krishna. Yeah. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Right? He's got, yeah. So he's like, all right, well, as soon as you see the cow pissing, get your hands out, cup it in your hands, and then take a mouthful of it. And I'm like, yeah, fucking do it. So anyway, so one of the boys there milking the cow, and then the cow starts pissing, and I got my hands out like a cup in my hands, like full, and then just put it straight to my mouth and took a massive mouthful. And then I can say that it tastes fucking horrendous.
Yeah, not good.
No, it's shocking, absolutely horrible. But just those little things and that as experiences and that on the farm, which mate, if you had told me that's something I'd ever be doing in my lifetime, it'd be fucking insane. But yeah, it's just stuff like that I guess, because what I was looking for at that time was something. And then when I kind of found it in that farm experience and that, he could have told me, mate, to fucking, because this Marty Griever was like a god to me in that farm. He could have told me every day, he was telling me things to do, and it was working. It was helping. He could have told me, mate, to do anything. I would have done it. Like, no worries at all. Yeah. So the cow piss, and he could have been joking, or like could have been taking, pardon the pun, taking the piss on me, and I would have done it. But yeah, it's a full thing.
That's incredible. We mention a lot as well about the universe just looking after you. What are the chances of Caleb going, mate, you're going to the Hare Krishna farm, you actually going, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. And then that's ultimately is what saves your life and keeps your mental health at bay now.
So when we're driving out there, one of the last things he gave me was the beads, because when you do the chanting, they've got there's 108 beads, single beads on a fucking necklace, rosary thing, and so every bead represents one chant, one round. And what the Hare Krishnas do is that they get up at about 3:30 in the morning and they do 15 rounds, I think it is. So to give you some context, it would take me, the most I ever did in one day was 8 rounds.
Oh shit! And
it took me from like 6 a.m. till like 4 p.m. and I was just over. I couldn't do it anymore.
Just chanting non-stop.
You could pick and choose when you did it throughout the day. So you could stop and then go do things, but come back, remember the rounds you're up to, then keep going. Yeah. But they would pump them out, mate, and they do it so quick. The chanting sounds so quick and so fast that they pump it out quickly. But it took me a week just to pick up the chant. Yeah. And then, it'd be full on, mate. It'd be full on. I'm going to find this cow pissing video.
I'm keen to, we'll talk about today and what life looks like today, obviously with your business. From sport, we know what we learn from sport, right? We learn teamwork, commitment, loyalty, dedication, hard work.
Yep.
From MAFS, what are the 3 things, mate, that you learned from that period of your life which now benefits you?
Can I just show this video?
Before we get serious, let's look at you drink some piss.
Yeah. It's from a cow. Oh, Jesus, mate. Oh, mate.
Oh, a little spew after, a little spit after.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Yes, mate.
Old mate's just done it and gone,
yeah. Old mate's loved it. That's like his cornflakes.
Oh my God. Mate, I don't know why. I had it in my head that you'd be like dressed in robes, like a full on
orange robe. Yeah. No, it was just, you just wear what you want. But that's down the at the farm there where the goats, you can hear the monk laugh. That's him laughing.
Oh my God.
That's really good.
Which was heavy. But yeah, sorry, mate. Back to your question.
Such a high level podcast.
Serious high level shit. So 40 days, kind of, we know what we learn from sport, right? And what that does for us in later life.
Yep.
For me, a MAFS days, but what are the kind of the 3 things that taught you, or what did you get out of that, which life today,
Yep.
you go, I'm grateful for that experience?
Out of MAFS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, one, I can just about do anything.
Yeah.
If I could endure and experience that emotional roller coaster, there's not much now that I think I could experience that would challenge me to that point. Don't yet have children. I'm sure that would throw in some spanners. So that's definitely one, that resilience component of it. The other one would be probably empathy. I learned a lot, probably looking back on Post-it. I probably didn't comment enough when I should have commented more. And what I mean by that isn't necessarily during the filming. It was probably more so post the filming. There were things that were done and edited in a way that Beck was shown that weren't accurate. And because of the way that I was treated at the very end, I despised her completely, and I didn't want anything to do with her. Or so ever since that reunion show that happened, I've never spoken to her ever since, even till this point. And to a point, I kind of regret that, and not kind of just kind of closing a few things off and maybe shutting it. But I probably wish I had supported some elements of how she was treated during editing. So I lacked a bit of empathy and understanding when I should have probably been better for that, because what she would have went through would have been horrific. Yeah. Like she would have copped it, and I know she copped it quite significantly.
When it aired.
And that, like the bullying and stuff like that, must have been extremely hard. But me at the time was like, well, you deserve it. Fuck yeah, you put yourself there, good luck.
Yeah.
So I probably learned that. That's a hard lesson that I'd probably gone away with. And the third one would, I'd probably through friendship would be one. So when you're in that bubble in that show, you become mates with a lot of people on the show. And then kind of coming off it, and then everyone kind of got divided into their own little groups. And then out of that experience, that I probably had 3 or 4 mates that I was kind of talking to and close to. But then when I had my downfall and things didn't go my way, they all fucked off, and don't talk to them, never talked to them ever since. But then I've got a grateful relationship in Jason, who never changed, who'd always been there for me through the whole thing. So I'm extremely grateful. That was a great lesson through that as well, about the importance of just really understanding, I guess, mates one, but who's genuine, who's in it for the coattails or the bullshit, really. Yeah. So that'd be 3 things. Yeah.
Mate, you got an incredible story. Like, I think you've been to the very top, but you've kind of been at the very bottom at the same time, and you've been to the very, very bottom, right? And to go through all of that and take the positives out of all those things is such an incredible power, I think, that you've got. Like, it's something that I don't think people do enough. Like, if you can, every bad thing that happens to you, if you can find the positive in that, like, you live a very, very different life.
Yep.
So the bounce back ability you've got is incredible, mate. And I want you to put it into context for everyone. I want to hear about your business today, because you've not just come back from that, gone to a Hare Krishna farm, put yourself in a good space. Like, you're absolutely killing it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's certainly, I feel like I've found where exactly I need to be in my life. Like, there's no doubt about it. The best thing about being a buyer's agent or running my company is, I never heard of what a buyer's agent was when I left the farm, because I didn't have a job. A friend of mine told me about it, thought about it. Thought, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Why not? And then got my license, come up the Gold Coast, and then started it by myself. And now it's kind of grown into what it is today, which is incredible. One thing I learned. How many people
you got now?
There's 6 agents, with us. A mix between on the Goldie and up in Brisbane. We do some work over in Bali too, which is exciting. Nice. But predominantly, Goldie and Brizzy. One thing I learned when I was running the charity, I had about 115 staff contractors under me as a CEO. And I learned pretty quickly that bigger doesn't necessarily mean amazing, doesn't mean great, doesn't mean you're successful. If anything, for me, my experience was that I don't want to create that again. So the agency for me is now more about the right people, less is more. Just having that kind of value system within the business that people want to be around, create a nice little business and culture. I'm open to growth. I'm just not open to the speed and rapid how it was previously.
Yeah.
But mate, I fucking love it. It's great. Like, it suits me to a T because I can really build great relationships with my clients. Yeah. And that's what I really cherish a lot about what I do, to be honest with you, because my people who I work for as their agent, 90% of it end up becoming good friends of mine. Yeah, really good friends. So Riley's one of them, right?
Yeah.
That's how I met you. So
Yeah.
Riley was a client, never met him in my life, got introduced to him through a mutual friend, helped him and Tegan buy the house up in Palm Beach. Now, fuck, if I got married tomorrow, he'd be at the wedding. So and there's 5 or 6 examples of that, of clients. So that part of it I really, really enjoy. And then there's the people side of it, like my team and that as well. So, and the buying side is a different side, obviously, to the selling, because the buying, I get to probably just slowly experience the process of property rather than the transactional side of selling, where it's sell, next one, sell. It's constant. Whereas the buying side, I can really go on a journey with my client. So we might not buy something for 8 weeks, and there's no stress on that.
Yeah.
My clients, although you might, your experience with your selling and buying, so sellers and that buyers, and depending on, we have had clients that that have timelines to buy.
Yeah.
But certainly I enjoy the less kind of dramatic stress.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like sale, it goes on the market, then you got your first open home, second open home, third, whatever it might be. Then you got an auction date.
Yeah.
Or it's like done, settled, on to the next.
Yeah. I hate the idea of, if I'm in a sales agent, I fucking hate the idea of having to groom my vendor, like having a conversation with them where I'm like, hey, I thought we could get this, but we can't. And now this is where it's at. I don't know, that conversation with people constantly, I could do it every now and then, no doubt. But that constant kind of conversation with people would probably really wear me down and exhaust me, that the feeling of disappointment, disappointing people would be horrendous. Where on the buying side, it's always, fuck, thank you so much. It's amazing. We can't believe it. It's always more uplifting.
Yeah.
Necessarily on the selling side, it can be like, great result. Fuck, we thought we'd get more, but we're happy to sell, that type of thing.
Yeah. Mate, we've actually had so many buyers agents on this pod, haven't we? We've had Matt Schramer, Benny Handler came on, Jack Henderson. It's some of that's growing so much.
Well, Benny Handler was my mentor for 12 months, just under 12 months. So when I first started the profile, him and I kind of started talking. I realized that I fucking don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something well because I'm getting clients. I didn't kind of understand the structure behind it all. And so Benny reached out and I'd done his course and then obviously the license and that, but he supported me through probably 8 months, I'd say, of mentoring. And then Matty's great here in the Goldie. He's probably one of the bigger dogs here that does a lot of great work. Yeah. He's been here now probably nearly 10 years, I reckon, doing what he's doing.
I think so.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
So he's one of the OGs, and and Hendo, like, he's fucking smashing doing what he's doing.
A rocket ship.
Yeah.
Mate. He's a freak.
He is. Yeah.
He's
so
incredible.
great character. Love what he's all about.
He was good value.
The thing about the buying world too, mate, we've all got our place. Like, there's so many buyers out there. It's such a massive market share. Like, I look at people like Matty and think, mate, we should be supporting each other and really advocating for the space to grow. We always need to have good, healthy competition. We look at Hendo and that, like, he just gone off in a complete different tangent, hasn't he? Like, the way he does things and how he how he does his business and runs his business isn't your general buyer's agency.
Yeah, he does everything. The taglines, the advisory, the Renault company as part of the advisory. Yeah. But it's something that's growing so much, and like I can honestly see, I think Benny said like 95% of property that's sold in the US is sold with a buyer's agent, and it's actually the seller that pays for the buyer's agent.
Yep.
I can honestly see Australia going the same way. I've had an experience recently dealing with multiple sellers, selling agents, and you fucking get manipulated. Like, it's mental, and I can see why. Had we not had people like you in our corner and my friend who is a sales agent that I was bouncing ideas off, I can see why people end up spending way more than what they should or what a property's worth.
Yeah, I mean, we're so behind with the property kind of legislation here and how we sell property. I mean, we've just had the new disclosures come in the Queensland thing, because coming from Victoria where it's full disclosure on selling a property, up here for forever, you never had to do that until now. But yeah, he's right. It's America. Yeah, there's both sides of the party and they both get paid, and each party feels very well represented, which is important, because yeah, geez, I have a lot of people come to us too who have bad experiences with buyer's agents, which is sad. Yeah, we just got on a new client recently who he was more than happy to commit to me, but he made it very clear to me that he had a pretty bad experience with one previously, and he wasn't going to cop the same treatment.
It happens in our world as well.
Massively, mate, it's an education piece, a lot of it, isn't it? Like, great, that's not what every buyer's agent recruiter is like, and this is how we kind of operate.
Yeah, they're point of difference. And I think also that people get sold the buyer's agency a dream like it's a part-time, do 15K deals while you're, living at home. And, it gets sold that kind of dream. And it's a lot of people that I know get into it who come from backgrounds of no property experience at all, like nursing or teacher and stuff like that. They get into it fully motivated, fully keen to make this passive income of over $100,000 a year, and realize in 6 months in that they haven't got a client and it's fucking hard. Like it's a hustle. Like you still got to work your nut off. Because you're literally, people ask me, what do I do? I say, people pay me to buy property. That's in a nutshell what I do. People pay me a lot of fucking money to buy a property. Like I'll transact on 30 to 50 grand on a purchase. That's a lot of money to give someone that trusts them to buy a house.
When you're already spending millions on a property anyway.
On a property, correct. So you've got to be really understanding of that and respectful of that, and fully aware of the huge commitment that your client's making to you, and go over and beyond to ensure that they have the best experience possible. Because geez, I couldn't imagine 10 years ago, me giving 20 grand, 10 grand to someone to buy a house for me, where I'm helping people moving up from Melbourne that haven't been to Gold Coast before, putting full trust in me, giving them their hard-earned money to find them their family home, where I'm ensuring that nothing's wrong with it. Yeah. It's their dream property. So it's a big responsibility, but one that I take very seriously, and so's our team, which is great.
Mate, that's been an absolute hell of an ep.
That's been a fucking whirlwind.
Sorry, it goes. Hope it hasn't gone too long. I know it's a bit of a long, kind of winded story, but
I think it's been important to share. Yeah. And I think typically males don't speak in depth about the lows. The highs are normally quite good at talking about and how good are we, but the lows along the way as well. And I think what you shared really well, is the lows in really good, authentic detail, then the actions you took. Riley, we're talking about when we left Carlton, you went to the program, you went to rehab, you got help. Okay. Then we went on MAFS, great. And then actually, shit, I'm back low again. I took action again. Yep. And that's the bravest and the hardest thing from what I've found, and looking from the outside in with people who I've kind of seen go through it as well. So my hat's off to you, one, for taking action in the first place, and two, for being brave enough to come on here and kind of put your heart out. Mate, I hope people who are listening, whether they're going through it, whether their brother, sister, anyone is, they can take a bit of that, or even if it's them in 5 years, right? Just keep this in the back of their mind of it's not always the only way out, right?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's a great message, and I'm sure we'll finish off on that. Just, if you're struggling, you need help, it's just important, to reach out and that. And I know halves know this. We recently just had a tragedy at the footy club that I'm coaching at, where a young man, took his life, and it's hard, mate, to get your head around, because I coached him all this year, and anyone would meet him would think that the kid was happy. He was just he just put a deposit down for a house. He bought surfboards for a new surf holiday trip. He was someone, he epitomized who a typical male would be when they're suffering in complete silence, and it's really hard to get your head around. So, and it's tragedy, mate. It's just tragic. It's heartbreaking. So we don't want to hear about it anymore. We don't want to experience the stories that we keep hearing too often, mate. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. It really is.
That's it, mate. That's why it's so powerful to share the story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, boys.
That was a blast.
That was a cracker. Yeah, Jake.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning into the Two Blokes One Business podcast today. As mentioned, there are some sensitive topics that we did discuss. And again, if anyone is struggling with mental health and needs to reach out for help, Lifeline's contact number is 131114. See you next week.